because I'm yelling, Billy, Joey, Jimmy, and I lose my voice. So every night he comes and gets me, and we go out and I have rock and rye, which makes his voice stop.
What's that?
Rock and rye, rye whiskey. I don't know what rock might be.
Ice.
Cold.
He's on the ice. On ice.
Yeah. So I would have that, and he'd have a beer.
Where?
In the little town of Wayne. I think it was Wayne. Up in a little.
In the Catskills?
No, way up in the Berkshire.
I thought you were at Camp Woodlands.
Camp Woodland, and then we'd go to town.
Oh, I see.
And there was a little bar.
Got it.
And I don't remember who the other people were, because I was smitten.
Then what?
And then well, I should go back one step. I found out about the camp at
You did tell me that. Yeah.
Carterhurst, and they had weekly dances, and there was a dance. I met this guy named Jerry, and we were going to go to Israel together. And then he chickened out, and he said, let's go to camp together. So we went, and he came to see me. We went out every night, and I was getting bored with him. And then Bob Abelson appeared. And it was a Wednesday night, and Jerry said, let's go to town. And Bob Abelson said, let's go to town. I said to Bob Abelson, well, I think it was Jerry. Jerry said, if you choose him, I will have nothing to do with you all summer. This choice you make, whether you go out with me tonight. I said, there's a motive behind it. What is it? He said, well, I really want to sleep with Betty because I've never slept with an African-American woman before. I want to get that over, and then it's us. I said, I see. So I chose Bob Abelson. And then Jerry was gone. And you have to know that. So every night he'd come up when I put the kids to bed, and he'd help me fold the laundry. I'd have to do all the wash.
I don't think he ever did that again.
Right. One night we were supposed to go to a movie, and I was sitting there with 13 baskets of laundry. He said, God, you're slow. I said, why don't you help me? And he said, no, you started it, you finish it. I said, Jerry, come back. So anyway, I said, look, I don't want you involved with housework. Mistake number one, big one. I'll have Betty do it. She was my assistant, and Vanita. And so every day, and then on my day off, we'd climb mountains, go up Wittenberg. And the only thing he did that was bad, and I checked it with the doctor, was that one step up I wanted water. He said, no water. And the theory now is you should have water all the way available if you want it. And that was bad. And then the moment I knew I was in love with him was when we were all going home, and there were 3 buses and 3 little kids all wrapped in the chair. And one little kid lost a cat. They couldn't find it. So
they brought their cat to camp? Wow.
So Bob Abelson said, don't move these buses till I come back with the cat. And it took about a half hour and he came back. It was hiding. And that did it. That meant anyone who would stop for a cat, I said, would you stop for a person? He goes, are you kidding? And so he got the cat. And then Sarah and me pushed the wedding hard toward the wedding. You don't want to hear
What
that.
happened between camp and the wedding?
So then,
When did you get
after I
engaged?
came home from camp, I was living at the Center for the Clara DeHurst Center for Girls. And he said, "Why don't you stay with my mother at her house?" I said, "Great idea." So I went. I went to my house.
Were you engaged or not engaged? Were you going to get married?
Yeah.
I missed that part. When did you get engaged?
We were up on the mountain. And I'm still at camp.
What did he say?
And he said, "Well, it's pretty heavy. I think you can take it." You asked, you know. He said, "I want to go all the way." I said, I was with my analysts and told everyone that I am not going to go all the way until I get married. He said, "I'll marry you." We'll get married, no problem. So
Then he said you should live with my mother.
So then the mother said, I think, she was off. "You can stay here if you want to. You don't have to just pay the money." We didn't mention wedding. So he came home for Thanksgiving, and she had a little couch like nothing, and we both slept on a couch. I had a long grandma's nightgown.
Where was he coming home from? Where was he coming home from?
Oh, he was at VPI.
Oh, okay.
He was at VPI, and I was here. And she said, Shonda, sleeping together." Couldn't believe that, communist. When you're not married, you have to set a date. I'm really pissed to this day for her. So he said, "Let it go." I said, "We're not doing anything." She said, "That's beside the point." She said, "Two people not married, sleeping on the same bed." So I just want to make it clear that she was not so modern. But that's all right. She brought Pete Seeger along. So then, also, I was at Columbia University. I met this guy at camp, another guy, Milton, and he said, "If you want to get into Columbia, get anyone but go into analysis, psychoanalysis, and they'll tell you what to do." So I went in with this black guy, Charles Collins, is fabulous, and he said, in order to get into Columbia, you have to write a really good autobiography and make it very neurotic. I said, "No problem." So I wrote it and I got right in. And I didn't like it. It was all administration, and the authors, all the authors, they were older, like in their 80s. The people who wrote the book, taught the classes.
Huh.
So then I would go to Virginia for a weekend, and I said, "I don't like Columbia." And he said, "Why don't you get out of it?" And I said, "Your mother wants us to get married." He said, "Might as well get it over with." So we picked December 21st. And Pete Seeger, he played the processional, and then he played the going away part. And we had square dancing, and it was very good. My mother went shopping with me for a dress. She was very good. I was a size 13, and I didn't want a big white deal. And the other thing was, we really didn't have much money. She supported the family. My father gave $5 a week. So she said, ask the rabbi if he'll give it to you as a gift. So I asked the rabbi. He said, absolutely, you can have the temple, you can have the recreation center, you have the whole thing, no cost.
Great.
Nowadays, it's $1,000. So, my mother, she was cool in some way. She said, we don't have money for a dinner, you know. I said, how about cake and champagne? She said, we'll go for ginger ale and sponge cake. No, we had a big, nice wedding. And I don't know, it wasn't champagne. It was like different sodas. It's perfect. It cost zero. It cost about $25.
Great.
Not great. And in those days, and it was very festive. It was a pretty old temple. And I had a beautiful pink dress in my hair. And the thing he didn't like, but we did. He would, only had outdoor clothes or college shirts. So my mother insisted that he have a navy blue wedding suit and a coat to go with it. His beautiful coat. So his father, my mother, and him and I went to a men's wear and got beautiful clothes. He looked gorgeous. Never wore them again. He wore them once again.
He had both his parents up there? His divorced parents were there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sydney was there.
Who else?
He was Sarah. You mean in Sydney's side?
At all? Who was there at all?
I don't remember the whole caboodle. I don't know why I
And then where did you live? You went to Virginia?
What, honey?
You went to Virginia then with him for the next semester? You moved to Virginia?
I went to visit him.
Where'd you live?
Oh, so I lived with her, and I thought it was heaven. But she'd come every morning to my room like a witch. Time to get up. I said, I don't want to get up right now. What do you mean you don't want to get up?
It's just like now.
Yeah.
So what happened? What happened when you got married? You moved to Virginia Polytechnic, whatever it was. You moved in with him?
Yeah. He had a little apartment. And then I got a job there as secretary to the head of the department. It's gorgeous, gorgeous, from Canada. And very brilliant man. He had written a lot of papers. So I was a secretary and he was a student, and it was a pretty good deal. And then I was happy. There's no problem. There's no other person in the picture. And then so I went to Boston. I transferred. I got into Boston University and Virginia, Southern Virginia Social Work School, and the Social Work School in California. So I decided I wanted to go to California right then. There was a push for it. And he didn't want to. It was too much. That's all right. So then he got, and then I don't know how we got from the paper, an interview, American Machine and Foundry doing some kind of math work. And there was a time after McCarthyism, I told you, and they had checked, they had to get clearance. And the FBI came to see my mother. And said, she's a wonderful person. She's a Sunday school teacher. She was a Sunday school teacher. And she was at Queens College. She